we are hearing the introduction to SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM about the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the preacher of Bhagavat Dharma. We heard that when Mahaprabhu came to Puri, he saw Lord Jagannath and fainted. Then he was brought to Sarvam Bhattacharya's house and he checked all the symptoms, but he did not know how to bring him back to consciousness. So when the devotees Nityananda Prabhu Gadadhar and others who came later, they chanted loudly Harinam, then the Lord regained his consciousness. After this, Bhattacharya received all the members of the party, including Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and asked them to become his guests of honor. The party, including the Lord, went for a bath in the sea, and the Bhattacharya arranged for their residence and meals at the house of Kashi Mishra. Gopinath Acharya, his brother-in-law, also assisted. There were some friendly talks about the Lord's divinity between the two brothers-in-law, and in this argument Gopinath Acharya, who knew the Lord before, now tried to establish the Lord as the personality of Godhead, and the Bhattacharya tried to establish him as one of the great devotees. Both of them argued from the angle of vision of authentic Shastras and not on the strength of sentimental vox populi, opinion of the masses or ordinary people. The incarnations of God are determined by authentic Shastras and not by popular votes of foolish fanatics. Because Lord Chaitanya was an incarnation of God, in fact, foolish fanatics have proclaimed so many so-called incarnations of God in this age without referring to authentic scriptures. But Sarvam Bhattacharya or Gopinath Acharya did not indulge in such foolish sentimentalism. On the contrary, both of them tried to establish or reject his divinity on the strength of authentic Shastras. The argument started because Sarvam Bhattacharya said he is a young sannyasi. It will be difficult for him to keep sannyas vows, means celibacy. So he should hear Vedanta Sutra from me, then he will be able to, he will know this world is all false. Only Brahman is truth, and I am Brahman, and this world is false. So he will get Vairagya, not wanting to enjoy this world. Then Gopinath Acharya said, you don't know about him, he is not some young sannyasi, he is Supreme Lord. Then Sarvam Bhattacharya argued how he is Supreme Lord. He is not mentioned in Shastra. Only three yugas, only in 3 yugas he appears, 3 jugi, like this. Both were speaking from Shastra. But anyhow, every conditioned soul, we are posing to be God. We are trying to enjoy this world. This is mine, so I will enjoy. We are all like small Krishnas. Or Gurudev also said, we are Lilliput Krishnas. We are posing, being enveloped by illusory energy, we are posing to be gods, enjoyers. This is mine, so I will enjoy. So later it was disclosed that Bhattacharya also came from the Navadip area, and it was understood from him that Nilambar Chakravarti the maternal grandfather of Lord Chaitanya happened to be a class fellow of the father of Sarvam Bhattacharya. In that sense, the young sannyasi Lord Chaitanya evoked paternal affection from Bhattacharya. Bhattacharya was the professor of many sannyasis in the order of Shankaracharya Sampradaya, and he himself also belonged to that cult. But Sarvam Bhattacharya was householder, was married, and had daughter. Still, he was so learned in all Shastras that even he had sannyasis as his disciples. So powerful. As such, the Bhattacharya desired that the young sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya, also hear from him about the teachings of Vedanta. Those who are followers of the Shankar cult are generally known as Vedantists. This does not, however, mean that Vedanta is a monopoly study of the Shankar Sampradaya. Vedanta is studied by all the bona fide Sampradayas, but they have their own interpretations. But those in the Shankar Sampradaya are generally known to be ignorant of the knowledge of the Vedantists, Vaishnavas. For this reason, the Bhakti Vedanta title was first offered to the author by the Vaishnavas. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, one of the prominent disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, he had more interest in hearing explanation of Vedanta Sutra from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also he had great interest to refute Mayavad explanation. So later on also, when he took sannyas and when he started giving sannyas, he gave to all his sannyas initiates this title, Bhakti Vedanta, telling that Vedanta is actually devotional scripture. It is not impersonalistic, it is devotional. So all his sannyasis, so including one of them was Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj. That is why this title. And Srila Narayan Maharaj also is continuing in this way, giving all Bhakti Vedanta. So because Vedanta really, it is devotional scripture. It is, Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, by all the Vedas I am to be known. I am the compiler of Vedanta, and it is pointing to me. I know the meaning of Vedanta, and it is by the Vedanta I am to be known. He is the author in the form of Vyasadeva. But Shankaracharya misled by his interpretation. But at that time, only the Shankaracharya's commentary was prominent everywhere, because he wanted to refute Buddhists. Buddhists, they will say, there is no eternal truth. Everything is only matter, which is constantly changing, and if you are attached, you will suffer. So you should remove your all desires, all your egos, everything. You should actually stop existing. You should dissolve yourself. Then there will be no more suffering. And there is, Vedas are not bona fide. They are imagining something, but they are not bona fide. But Shankaracharya said no, Vedas are bona fide and they are revealing Brahman, that is eternal consciousness, all-pervading eternal consciousness, and that is of superior quality of bliss. That is why he could convert all the Buddhists, because the Buddhists, they come up to the river Viraja, where there is no Rajoguna, there is no creation, so it is only tranquility of matter, Prakriti. There are no waves of creation and these things, so there are no waves of suffering. So everything is tranquil, so for them this means the greatest happiness. Removal of waves of suffering, for them that is ultimate happiness. But in reality, for Atma, that to be merged in Prakriti without any individual ego or any desires, any Rajoguna, any activity, any creation, any attachment, nothing. For soul, that is also one kind of suffering. Still you are in that material consciousness, but balanced. But Shankaracharya said, no, there exists Brahman. It is revealed in the Vedas. That is only by revelation. You cannot get by reasoning. For Buddhists, ultimate Praman means evidence is sense perception and logic, reasoning. For them that is highest. But for those who know the Vedas, for them the Shabda Brahma means transcendental sound is proof of reality, transcendental sound, eternal sound coming from spiritual plane, not from this material plane. So Shankaracharya refuted them. So he was prominent then all over India. So it was generally known, Vedanta means, yes, that Vedanta, Shankaracharya's, but it is not the only, and it is also not correct. Later, Ramanuja, Madhva, others, they gave the correct meaning. And especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we will see here. The Lord agreed to take lessons from Bhattacharya on the Vedanta. They sat together in the temple of Lord Jagannath, in that Mukti Mandap, one place is there. So the point is, there are two kinds of investigations, Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, prior and later investigation. Prior means Karma Kant of the Vedas. All the rituals and dharma, artha, kama, how to get this. So also their household life is recommended, and how to get material benefits, how to enjoy in this life and in next, in heavenly planets. That is the point. But after one gets satiated or also frustrated by that process, and when he gets the association of satsanga means devotees, or in Vedanta, Baladev Vidyabhushan in the first verse he said satsanga means those who know the truth. Later he's explaining it means devotees, but literal meaning is satsanga, those who know the truth, eternal truth or absolute truth. If one gets such association, by one may meet, but if one does not have Sukriti, he will not be able to recognize or get any advantage of that association. It will be impossible to him to grasp and also to receive anything. But those who have Sukriti and they come in contact with sadhu, then because of that association, then that will come. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now, therefore, after that is the time to inquire about Brahma. It's with short A. Not Brahma, but Brahma. Absolute truth. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now it is the time. When you give up that already, that is why Sarvam Bhattacharya said he took sannyas at a very young age. In young age, senses they want to enjoy, and beautiful ladies and all this. So how he will keep his sannyas? And he's very beautiful. Many ladies, they will approach him. How he will be able to control this? It's very difficult. So he must hear Vedanta Sutra to understand this is all false. Only Brahman, to merge yourself in Brahman, to get liberation, that is the actual point. This is not. So he has to get that, Vairagya. Since he already took sannyas, he must study Vedanta. So here they were sitting in Jagannath temple. Later also when Mahaprabhu went to Kashi, their sannyasis, Mayavadi sannyasis, said, why you are like a fanatic, emotion, sentimentalist? You are sannyasi, you should study Vedanta. Then Mahaprabhu said, what I can do? My guru said, I'm foolish. I have no qualification to study Vedanta. But here we see this was prior, that he already was hearing Vedanta and also explaining Vedanta to Sarvam Bhattacharya. So is Mahaprabhu lying there? The thing is, for higher purpose, to grace them, he said in that way. So it means is justified by the end. He did not do anything immoral because he was following superior dharma. Like when Haridas Thakur, when that prostitute or Maya, they came to him and they said, we want to be with you. You are so beautiful, young. Which girl in this world could resist you? It is impossible. So in this way they approached and showing everything. And then Haridas Thakur said, yes, I will be with you, but I have to finish my rounds because already I took vow. I'm sorry, but I have to finish. And I think today I will be able to finish. So you wait. I will be with you immediately after. So is he lying? Because Haridas Thakur never thought that actually really he will be with her. But he's saying in this way to help her to remain there and receive the grace of Sadhu and Harinam. So in order to grace, so he's not doing any harm by lying. If we want to harm someone by lying, that is sinful. But here it is for the higher purpose. So it is not immoral. Like Krishna is stealing butter and all this, all immoral things. But if we understand properly, we will see that he is not doing anything wrong. He is doing superior thing. The Bhattacharya went on speaking continually for 7 days. And the Lord heard him with all attention and did not interrupt. Because Atato Brahma Jigyasa, now is the time to inquire about Brahma. And then, and it is explained why that is necessary in the commentary. And second verse is Janmadi Asya Jata. From him, from Brahma, everything emanates. That is the definition of Brahma. And evidence is there in Taittiriya Upanishad, because Vedanta is giving meaning of all Upanishad. Jato vai mani bhutani jayante jeno jatani jivanti jat prajanti abhishan vishanti tat bijigyasasva tat eva Brahma. He is Brahma, about him you should inquire, from whom everyone is coming, all living entities, they are maintained by him and they will enter into him. He is Brahma. You should inquire about him. And the third sutra is Shastra Jonitvat. That Brahma is known or is born from the womb of Shastra, Jonitvat. Shastra Jonitvat. Like being born from Shastra means only by Shastra you can know, not by reasoning or by sense perception. Logic, argument, this, no. You have to receive the self-revealed transcendental sound in the form of Vedas. Submit. You have to receive. Then you can realize. Otherwise it is impossible. And then further the sutras go. So here he was explaining 7 days. The Lord heard him with all attention and did not interrupt. The Lord's silence raised some doubts in Bhattacharya's heart, and he asked the Lord how it was that he did not ask anything or comment on his explanations of Vedanta. Because Mahaprabhu said, you asked me to hear Vedanta. You did not say to me that I should ask questions. You only said I have to hear. So I'm hearing. The Lord posed himself before the Bhattacharya as a foolish student and pretended that he heard the Vedanta from him because the Bhattacharya felt that it was the duty of a sannyasi. But the Lord did not agree with his lectures. By this, the Lord indicated that the so-called Vedantists among the Shankar Sampradaya or any other Sampradaya who do not follow the instructions of Srila Vyasadeva are mechanical students of the Vedanta. They are not fully aware of that great knowledge. The explanation of the Vedanta Sutra is given by the author himself in the text of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. One who has no knowledge of the Bhagavatam will hardly be able to know what the Vedanta says. The Bhattacharya was a vastly learned man. No, the Bhattacharya, being a vastly learned man, could follow the Lord's sarcastic remarks on the popular Vedantist. He therefore asked him why he did not ask about any point which he could not follow. The Bhattacharya could understand the purpose of his dead silence for the days he heard him. This showed clearly that the Lord had something else in mind. Thus, the Bhattacharya requested him to disclose his mind. Upon this, the Lord spoke as follows. My dear sir, I can understand the meaning of the sutras like Janmadi Asya Jata, Shastra Jonitvat, and Atato Brahma Jigyasa of the Vedanta Sutra, but when you explain them in your own way, it becomes difficult for me to follow them. The purpose of the sutras is already explained in them, but your explanations are covering them with something else. You do not purposely take the direct meaning of the sutras, but indirectly give your own interpretations. Because this verse says, from whom all living entities are coming, by whom they are maintained, and into whom they are entering, he is Brahma. So how you can say Brahma is Nirvishesh? Has no any specifics or any attributes or anything. If here it is from him, by him, in him, all this. So how you can say? That is wrong interpretation. The Lord thus attacked all Vedantists who interpret the Vedanta Sutra fashionably according to their limited power of thinking to serve their own purpose. Such indirect interpretations of the authentic literatures like the Vedanta Sutra are hereby condemned by the Lord. The Lord continued, Srila Vyasadeva has summarized the direct meanings of the mantras in the Upanishads in the Vedanta Sutra. Again, Srila Vyasadeva has summarized the direct meanings of the mantras in the Upanishads in the Vedanta Sutra. Explanation is there given so that we may not understand by trying to grasp through intellectual reasoning. You have to receive as it is. By revelation, it can be revealed. You have to catch what the Upanishads wants to say. You should not try to understand it based on your intellectual experience of this world and sense perception. You have to be open with surrender because those are superior ideas and they are beyond the comprehension of our mind and intellect. So you have to receive them through revelation. We have to accept them as they are. And with submission, then you will be able to see that, and then you will be able to understand that that is beyond the limited capacity of mind and intellect. So for that you have to be open, not with your own ideas and with other desires like this. That is why those who did not yet get satiation by enjoyment or frustration by enjoyment, and they are not seeking something superior, of not having sukriti and not getting satsanga, they will not be able to understand what the Vedanta Sutra says. Because that is by revelation. Unfortunately, you do not take their direct meaning. You indirectly interpret them in a different way. The authority of the Vedas is unchallengeable and stands without any question of doubt. Unchallengeable truth. You cannot challenge or change or like this. No, that is already existing, eternally existing, it is self-effulgent. So by any challenging mood, you will not be able to realize. And also deny. You cannot deny because that is unchallengeable truth. It is already existing. It will exist no matter what you try to do, mental gymnastics or intellectual gymnastics or put argument or whatever. That will continue to exist. And it has an influence on us all the time, whether we accept or not. If I close my eyes and I say there is no sun, that does not mean that sun does not exist. And that does not mean that sun is not influencing me by giving power, that heat and light and all this. So like that, Supreme Lord is always existing, whether we accept or not. We may deny, but he is existing irregardless of our these things, and he is influencing us. He is giving the fruit of our action, and by the pressure of time, everything is going on. We cannot challenge him. We can only submit to him. If we are averse, then it is our misfortune. Like one rabbit, he sees one wolf is coming to eat him and he becomes afraid. Then he closes his eyes and now he does not see the wolf. So he becomes relaxed. Oh, there is no danger, no wolf. But that does not mean that wolf is not existing. He will eat him. Like that, we are always under the influence of God in all respects, whether you accept or not, believe or not, or is unchallengeable truth. And you will find many in this world, they are claiming I am God, I am supreme reality. There is no other God. These religions, they are speaking about some personal God, and like that is all for children. That is to make them moral and like this. But actually, there is no such God who is a person and like this. That either they will think Biraja experience as God and I am that, or they will think that Brahman experience as God and I am that, these two. But if you if you don't accept that, or if you ask some relevant questions, they say I am everywhere, I am everything. Then if you ask him, then you tell me what is behind my computer here, what is there, you tell. Then he will like this. And if you put some relevant questions, they will be very much disturbed because they will feel they are being challenged. Their self-conception is being challenged and they are disturbed. They become disturbed. I personally experienced this. Speaking with one such person, he became disturbed. Although he's God, but he thinks he's God, but he became disturbed after I asked him some relevant questions. But Krishna does never become disturbed. Why? Because he's unchallengeable truth. Whether someone speaks against him or denies him or whatever he likes to do, that does not at least disturb Krishna or challenge Krishna, because he's supreme, eternal reality supreme. That does not change. So by this you can understand who is real God or not. He's never disturbed. So the authority of the Vedas is unchallengeable and stands without any question of doubt. That Vedas, they are eternal sound. They are non-different from Narayan. Vedo Narayana Shakshat. Non-different from him. But we are unable to realize this transcendental sound unless we receive it through proper attitude. But if we receive it, then we realize, then we can understand, yes. But others will not be able to understand. And like it is same as Gurudev said, all the books of the Goswamis, Bhagavatam, everything was there. But why so many pseudo sects came? They were all claiming we are preaching Mahaprabhu's message, but they were doing immoral activities in the name of Mahaprabhu's, because they were not surrendered. They could not receive that knowledge. Like that, Siddhartha Gautam, Buddha who came, Siddhartha, that is human Buddha, not Buddha avatar, it's different. This Siddhartha Gautam, he was reading Vedas, Upanishads before, but later he rejected. That is all useless. Why? Because he could not receive that sound properly. Without surrender, without getting the association of sadhu and awakening that Sharanagati by his grace, you will not be able to understand this, receive it. But when Shankaracharya came, he could do this. He could awake others to accept the Vedas. At least to accept the Vedas as authority on that there exists eternal truth. He misinterpreted about ultimate revelation of eternal truth. He only spoke up to Brahmajyoti level, not beyond that. But for that also you need the grace of someone who is realized on that platform, and you have to receive it from him. And whatever is stated in the Vedas must be accepted completely. Otherwise, one challenges the authority of the Vedas. So not only some parts accepting and some parts not. No, everything is necessary. Like some are saying, no, I'm reading only 10th canto, Bhagavatam. That is, I like 10th canto, not others. That is foolishness. Bhagavatam is complete, and everything is necessary to define, to bring you to complete knowledge of Krishna and his avatars and his devotees, different, and how to realize everything is necessary. Even 11th canto and 12th canto are necessary. Already you spoke Krishna Lila in 10th canto. What is the necessity of 11th and 12th? It is necessity is there. You will misunderstand 10th canto. So we should not take only some parts and reject other parts. The conch shell and cow dung are bone and stool of two living beings. But because they have been recommended by the Vedas as pure, people accept them as such because of the authority of the Vedas. Stool is impure, generally, but not of cow. And bone, also dead person, dead body, if you touch also that is impure. Or fish, bones, if you touch you have to take bath. But bone of conch, that conch shell is pure, is used for making auspicious sound. So Vedas say these two are pure. The idea is that one cannot set his imperfect reason above the authority of the Vedas. The orders of the Vedas must be obeyed as they stand, without any mundane reasoning. But if you try to explain to Buddhist, he will not be able to accept. No, reasoning is the highest. That is all imaginary. But if some Buddhist gets the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as they got in South India or Satsanga, then they are also able to accept. But without Sukriti and without proper sadhu, they will argue all the time. There is no eternal truth. Everything is changing. That is, I perceive that is the fact, and also by logic and everything, there is nothing eternal. They will deny, outright deny. And if someone is speaking, that is imaginary and it is actually harmful, because you will also become attached to that eternal truth, and attachment necessarily means suffering. That is their thinking. But the point is, if the Buddhists are so much without suffering, then why? No, yes, Buddhists are without suffering, no attachment, but why then they were converted by Shankaracharya, who is having wishful thinking? There is some eternal truth that is wishful thinking, and you become attached, so you necessarily have to suffer. But why they were attracted by him? The point is, he's having less suffering than them. Although he has wishful thinking, there is something eternal, but he's not suffering. He has less suffering than Buddhists. That is why they could be attracted. And Gyanis or Mayavadis, they become attracted to devotee, because it is true, devotee has no any suffering, but he has higher transcendental bliss or experience. That is why they accept. Because Buddhists say whoever believes in eternal truth, he must be suffering, because that is wishful thinking. But if you go to such person who is realized in eternal truth and you check how much he is suffering, if Buddhists will go to check, then he cannot find that he is suffering. He is suffering less or nothing in comparison to the Buddhist. It will later come. I'm always a little ahead. She's asking, can you please kindly say a little bit more about Atato Brahma Jigyasa? I told, now it is the time to inquire. Thereafter, after that, after what? After being fed up by sense enjoyment and understanding that cannot fulfill me, and that is all temporary. And when one has enough sukriti and comes in contact with a realized soul who is experiencing eternal bliss. Eternal bliss is different than temporary sense pleasure. That is for some time, and it does not touch the soul, and after that it brings suffering. When one understands this point, then there is a time for him to inquire about the eternal truth. Before that, he will not be ready. No, I will be happy. I will make one house. I will marry. I will enjoy. I will have good car. All this. I will be happy. I will have much position. But only when one will realize that this is not actually making one happy, and that there must be something more, and he will have sukriti, and by the grace of sadhu he will feel or believe that there is some eternal reality. I belong to that eternal reality, and there is some eternal bliss that will fulfill me. Then it is the time, now is the time to inquire about Brahma. Brahma means Supreme Lord. When Sanatana Goswami approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after giving up his job and all those things, fully he released himself from any worldly desires he very humbly approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, I don't know who I am, why I have to suffer threefold miseries, what is the ultimate goal of life, and how to attain it, I don't know. All the people in this world, they are praising me. You are very learned, you are very beautiful, you are having so much money, such position, Brahmin family, all this. They are praising me. You have so much knowledge, but I think I'm a fool because I don't know who I am and why I'm suffering. If I don't know this, then how there can be any good for me? What is the use of other people praising me? Yes, I will feel nice, yes, very good. But what is that to me? When one will feel like that, as long as one is very happy by getting praise, so he will be happy. What is the use of inquiring about the real happiness? He will be happy with that. And he will try for that all the time, thinking that is real happiness. But Sanatana Goswami said, what is that to me? I am suffering. I don't know who I am. I have no knowledge. They're saying, you know so many languages, so many politics, points, everything. You know, you are so learned. Say, what I'm learned? I don't know who I am. Basic thing I don't know. So what is the use? Or like one. So then Mahaprabhu, because Sanatana Goswami was ready, then he explained about Krishna, and then in relation to him, we are also there, all absolute knowledge. And I can give you also one practical example. My god brother, he is very intelligent from India, Orissa, near Puri. So he was very good student, and he also went to America, to Boston, to study medical science. So he learned everything, very high marks in everything, all fields, everything. Medical, he became doctor. Then while he was in America, he could get very good job, everything he could get, money, house, everything. But it came to him, by studying this, now I know everything about the body. This physical, I know everything. But I don't know anything about Atma. I'm from India. I don't know anything about Atma. In India, there are so many rishis, these spiritual persons, they're all speaking about Atma, Paramatma like this, but I have no knowledge, nothing. Yes, I know everything about body, but what is the use? I don't know anything about Atma. Then without taking any job there in America, very good job and all degrees and certificates and diplomas and all these things, he thought that is all useless. I don't know who I am. What is the Atma? What is Paramatma? From whom? From where I come? I don't know him. So he returned back to India and he met our Gurudev and surrendered to him. And now he's a sannyasi. He's still living. He told, so that is Atato. Now it is time to inquire about the eternal truth or absolute truth. That is Atato Brahma Jigyasa, but not all are ready. Only those who have Sukriti and get Sadhu Sangha, they are ready to inquire about eternal truth. Others will be busy by acquiring sense enjoyment. Even if you tell them, they will not accept. They will think you are one mad person. You are, why you don't want to enjoy? That is very good. You are missing the life. You are not living the life. All these things they will say. But they have no idea what is actual real life. So the so-called followers of the Vedic injunctions make their own interpretations of the Vedic injunctions, and thus they establish different parties and sects of the Vedic religion. Lord Buddha directly denied the authority of the Vedas, and he established his own religion. Only for this reason, the Buddhist religion was not accepted by the strict followers of the Vedas. But those who are so-called followers of the Vedas are more harmful than the Buddhists. The Buddhists have the courage to deny the Vedas directly, but the so-called followers of the Vedas have no courage to deny the Vedas, although indirectly they disobey all the injunctions of the Vedas. Lord Chaitanya condemned this. So from this point of view, Shankarites are more dangerous. Like someone is thief, openly he is admitting, yes, I'm a thief. But someone will come in disguise of a friend. Yes, we are accepting Vedas, like theists. But they will not accept the ultimate purpose of the Vedas, devotion to Krishna. They will preach that liberation. So in that sense, they are more harmful. But if you see from the gradual development of theism, Shankarites are better than Buddhists in the sense that they accept the Vedas, a regulation of the Vedas, that authority of the Vedas. Then next step is you have to just explain what the Vedas actually say. So that is why those who have faith in Krishna, they will lead their life in such a way that they will serve Krishna. They will accept what is favorable for the service of Krishna, and they will reject what is unfavorable. If Krishna does not like something, then that he will not do. That is stated in Shastra. Krishna pritya bhogotyag. For the sake of Krishna, for the sake of serving Krishna, one should give up bhog, means enjoyment, sense enjoyment. So like that in Brahma Jigyasa also, only one who is ready to give up that non-eternal, he will be able to accept eternal. Or when that Brahmin got that touchstone from Sanatana Goswami and he was touching all the iron and became gold and he was very happy. But then that intelligence came. Why Sanatana Goswami is not caring for this? He must have something better. So for him, Atato Brahma Jigyasa also came. Inquiry. What is he having that he is thinking this is all useless? What is there? So he inquired and Sanatana Goswami said, yes, I can tell you, I can give you. But you have to give up this stone first to show whether really you have faith or not. You have that feeling, the time has come for you, for Atato Brahma Jigyasa, you really feel that there is something, then that person, through that, then he was able to receive it. Like that, we can get the service of Krishna also. When we are ready, Harinam initiation, one can get if he is ready to give up certain things which are displeasing to Krishna. That is necessary. That is why some so-called gurus, in order to increase disciples and for the sake of money or name and fame or service or something, they are not explaining the Shastra injunctions, what Krishna gives. No, that is not important. You just chant and you can eat everything, no problem. You enjoy okay, that is no problem. You just become disciple and you bring money. That is their preaching. They are not preaching devotion to Krishna, but some material things. So that is not Atato Brahma Jigyasa. There is also one sutra called Bhakti Sutra by Narad Goswami and also Shandili Muni. There it is, Atato Bhakti Jigyasa. Now it is the time to inquire about Bhakti. Who will be able to receive devotion to Krishna? One who will have that faith, and he will be willing to reject certain things which are not pleasing to Krishna. There may be weakness that will be forgiven because he will try again and again. But if duplicity is there, insincerity, he will think, no, this is not important, this is useless, this is, and they will argue that that has nothing to do with devotion like this, then that is insincerity. He is not accepting devotion actually. So here Mahaprabhu told, someone may outwardly say, yes, I'm accepting Vedas, but he's not accepting the actual teaching of the Vedas. Someone may outwardly, so many Apasampradayas, they may say, no, we are accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are of his school, we are preaching him, but actually not accepting the teaching of Mahaprabhu as given in the authentic scriptures and by bona fide Guru Parampara. So they are afraid of associating with real devotees and reading Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita. They are afraid of that. But everyone is doing according to his present Sukriti. So what one wants, that one will get. If one wants eternal welfare, he's really in the platform of Jigyasa into eternal truth, he will get proper guidance and proper practice and everything. But if someone is trying to get some worldly things, then he will get those things. Until the time comes when he will be able to inquire about eternal truth and within eternal truth about devotion, eternal transcendental devotion to Krishna and what is necessary for that. Tomorrow we will hear further.